Well, good evening, my friends. I trust that you have had and yet having an empowering day. It's yours truly, Prophet C.T. Johnson. It's Monday, and you know that means it's time to empower your thinking and change your life. I'm so excited to be back with you on this week. We are in July, the seventh month of the year. Excuse me. Can you believe it? 2022 is moving swiftly. And I'm grateful to God for what He is doing with the broadcast, with the platform, with CT Johnson Ministries. And I'm excited that you are a part and you're partnering with me, and you are partakers, hopefully supporters as well, in regards to what God is doing right here with CT Johnson Ministries via Empowerment Monday. So come in, say hello to me that I may say hello to you. You know the drill. Facebook, I need for you to hit the like button regarding tonight's live. Share it, share it, share it. Let's get it out there that the prophet is on. So share tonight, hit the like button, as well as subscribe and or follow the page, CT Johnson Ministries Facebook page. We are growing. We're at 1,000 followers now. And so thank you all for following. Continue to follow, continue to share. And YouTube, hello to you. Say hello to me over there as well, and hit the thumbs up. Subscribe if you have not yet subscribed to our YouTube channel, also CT Johnson Ministries. Click that bell so you'll receive notification when we are live and or new content is uploaded. Tonight we are concluding. We have been in this series. It did not start out to be a series, but God has been literally enlightening our understanding. He's been provoking, I trust, especially and particularly the men, that you have been provoked in regards to the teaching, present but absent fathers. And so we are concluding tonight with my special guest, Elder Phillip Williams. And I trust that he is yet with me. All right. Seemed as though he popped out for a second, but I think he's popped back in. I'm going to give him another second or two to get himself together. But I again trust that you, most particularly the men, the brethren, that you have been provoked in thought, that you have allowed this teaching, this series of teaching, to take you into a place of assessment, whereby you have taken and are yet taking an introspective look as it pertains to your role, your duty, your responsibility as a father and or as that positive male role model figure in the life and or lives of young people. And also to our female viewers, share this, get this information out into the hands of the men that you know. All right. Elder Williams, he disappeared out of the back room. So hopefully he'll be back with us here in a moment. This is live TV, you all. All right, I think he's popped back in now. He's having technical issues. So let's see if he's with us and we come against the technical devils and demons on his end. All right, Elder Williams, are you with us? Are you with us? I'm coughing and you're having technical issues, but between both of us, we're going to get it together.
Yeah, I don't know. Chrome is not being friendly tonight, so we switched over to a different browser. So hopefully we stay connected. If not, then we're gonna switch over to the phone. But we're gonna keep rolling here. But time is of the essence. So, but again, we just thank the Lord again. Great having this discussion over the last couple of weeks. And just continuing. I'm excited about the content to kind of close this out and talk about it tonight. So, as always, man, just always glad to be here.
Well, I am glad that you are here. Thank you again for being with me for the past now 3 weeks. We have had a powerful time of discussion. We've been discussing throughout the weeks online, offline, back channel, backstage. And I'm telling you, I'm just grateful for the dialogue that we've had, grateful for the insight that you've brought. Mute your end for a moment while I'm giving you some accolades to kill that feedback. uh, but anyhow, y'all yet pray for the prophet that the remnants of this COVID virus exits my body in totality. That's why I'm coughing, in case you're wondering what in the world is going on with the prophet. I'm yet pushing the remnants of this virus out of my body, out of my system, in Jesus' name. But as I was saying, we've been having a powerful time, a powerful dialogue, and I'm appreciative to you, Elder Williams, for your insight, for your experience. He is the father of 3 children, teenagers now, and 2 sons, a daughter. And so he has brought some personal experiences, personal insight, personal trials and errors over the past 2 weeks in regards to this subject, absent but present fathers. And I want to remind those of you who may be watching for the first time, when we deal and or speak to the absent portion of the title, we are speaking specifically to men, fathers, father figures being emotionally absent. Many are there physically, many are there financially, many are there supporting as it pertains to significant events and historic moments of that child and or children's life. But there's more to support than showing up at a baseball game, hollering and or yelling from the stands, "That's my boy," and or "That's my girl." You have to understand that being there to provide some emotional support, and as well as guidance, guiding their emotions and helping to shape their emotions and shape their mindset and their mentality and their understanding in regards to the male female relationship is significant. And so we have a video that we want to roll out, go into very quickly. It's going to serve as a segue into, excuse me, the conclusion of the matter. It's 5 minutes and some seconds. It's a very good video. You're going to love it, I'm sure. And so we're going to take you to that video now, and then Elder Williams and I will return, and we're going to discuss, of course, the content, and then we'll move further in tonight's discussion. So stay with us, because you're going to be glad that you did.
Okay, so we know you are the father of 2 daughters.
Yes.
And one just entered middle school,
Right.
so
Pray for me. Pray for me. I've already done mean stare down to all the guys in middle school.
So I love like watching on Facebook and like when you post stuff about your daughters and the daughter date you go on with your daughter. I mean, it's just, I'm like, oh, you're such a good father. So what do you think are the benefits of your 2 daughters having their father in their life? And what do girls need from their fathers?
It's the most important relationship of both parents. That's according to the research. It's the relationship of the father to the daughter. That's where they get their self-confidence from. That's where they get their sense of self. I mean, you think about what advantages a girl has who has her father around. She gets picked up all the time when she's little. Pay attention to me. Watch me hula hoop. Come to my cheerleading match. Help me with my homework. Daddy, do you like this? Daddy, take me here. We're always telling them pretty. It might equal into the tens of thousands by the time they are 5 or 6. How many positive things that we have said to them. How many times they've been affirmed, how many times they've been validated that they're special to a man, and so when girls don't have that, that's a huge disadvantage, even if they have a positive relationship with their mom, that's a lot to not get. So, I mean, I have daughters that range in the spectrum. The youngest is 13 months, oldest one is 11. And so balancing those 2 relationships, how many times I pick up my 1-year-old and then turn over and have a conversation with my 11-year-old, make sure that she's not jealous. That is something that they're getting on a regular basis. So it is critical. Plus, guys treat girls differently when they know that there's a father who is there that they have to answer to. There is absolute accountability. And saying, listen, if you're going to like my daughter, if you're going to date her, I'm actually cool with that. I'm okay. I'm trying to be reasonable in my mind. Right now, this is all theoretical.
Yeah, she's
my daughter
11,
is
right?
not
Yeah,
into boys yet. This is all theoretical. I'm trying to train myself to the highest of expectation to do this the right way. You know, I want to let them know, hey, listen, just take care of her. Otherwise, we'll have to have a conversation, you know? And so if we let him know that, he's going to be okay. I remember the girls that I dated in high school. I remember the conversation I had with their fathers. And even when the girl wanted to do something, I was like, no. I told your father, no, not going to happen. I'm sorry. I'm not going to get shot. I'm not going to get beaten up. That's not going to happen. I have too much respect. I gave your father my word of what we will and will not do, and I'm not going to violate it. Sorry.
I have mothers who are in the house with the husband who come to me and say, how can I get my husband to understand that some of the behavior that we see in our daughter is that she's like really trying to get his attention. I don't know what the answer is to that. Like, how do you get a father, even one who's in the house, to understand the role that he needs to play?
Well, a lot of times fathers are ill-equipped to have a conversation with their daughters. I mean, you're talking about a large generation of men that were not taught how to discuss and emote emotions. Emotions. How do I discuss? She says she's sad. What do I say after that other than it's going to be okay? You know? And a lot of dads are too much of a disciplinarian that they don't really open up. You better not talk to a boy. If you talk to a boy, I'll kill you or I'll kill him. And they never really engage. So we have to teach men how to actually have conversations with their daughters. Can you have an intimate 15-minute conversation with your daughter without making her feel judged and get information? I tell dads, you're going to kind of pretend, you got to channel your inner Oprah. You're gonna have to get the tea, you're gonna have to get the juice, you're gonna have to be gossip style. So then what happened? Oh, he came and he talked to Melissa and you were standing right there? Then what did you do? How did you feel about that? Well, are you and Melissa cool or no? All right. Oh, is that the same Melissa you talking about last week?
Wow.
And so
good.
But I've had training, I've been doing this for 19 years, talking to girls, but I take that for granted. I had to realize, man, you know what? Fathers are not taught how to do this, especially if they didn't have that relationship with their father or their mother. If their conversations were based on directives, children are to be seen, not heard, And so we have to actually teach those fathers how to have that conversation with their daughters, because daughters want to actually talk to their fathers about what's going on in the relationships. You just have to make it safe.
All right. You all let me know in the comments what you thought about that video. I saw a comment already saying that it was good as it pertains to a piece in which, excuse me, the doctor spoke to. And so put in the comments, let us know what your thoughts were as it pertains to that video. I found it to be insightful. I found it to be interesting, to say the least, intriguing. And he brought out some great points. So Elder Williams, let's just jump right into this. And I want to hear your thoughts as it pertains to the video. Not only is the gentleman that spoke a father of 3 girls, different ages and stages. I think he said the youngest was 12 months. The oldest was 11. I don't remember him mentioning the third child, or maybe he only had 2 daughters. But however, he's also a psychologist. So he spoke from the parental side and the aspect of fatherhood, parenting. And then he also spoke from the professional side as a psychologist. So Elder Williams, you having 3 children, 1 being a daughter, I know you can speak to this. So let's hear what you have to say in regards to the video.
So no, the video outlined something that is very crucial for men to understand. And so the point that I wrote down earlier before we came on after listening was that a father's job is not to teach his daughter to be a lady. It's to teach her how a lady should be treated. And so that is important because, hey, I've never spent a day as a woman and have no desire to. So I don't know that it takes to raise a girl into a woman. I don't know that aspect. I've never been one, but I do know as a man how she is supposed to be conditioned so that when a man or when a boy approaches, if he is someone that she should actually give any time or attention to, and that comes from that father. Because ultimately, I said, your daughters may play around with boys and dating them, but when they get ready to get married, they're looking for someone like their father. And so when they find when they're serious about a man and finding a man, they're going to look for one that's like their father. And so if that man is and unfortunately this goes both ways, this could be positive or negative, but in keeping with the positive aspect of it is that when she sees that my father was, yes, he was a provider, but was not emotionally frozen. My father interacted with me. My father took me on dates. My father, took care of me. Anything that I wanted or needed, my father, I would go to my dad, and my dad, took care of that. So he always showed me how a man should treat a woman. And not only that, but also that's also exemplified through how, he treated his wife, my mother, the daughter's mother. So I think, as he pointed out, we as fathers, we have to be very sensitive. We can't respond to our girls like we respond to our boys. We've got to understand the difference, that they need different things. They have different aspects. And most importantly, we don't want to have a double standard, because at some point, I can't tell my boys, go be boys, and not respect women, but then at the same time, I'm trying to tell my daughter, you find you a guy or that respects you. We can't have two messages going because of boys and girls. We've got, my sons will interact with somebody's daughter at some point, and they need to understand how to treat a woman. And then my daughter is going to interact with some guy at some point, and she needs to know what that looks like so that she can quickly identify it. And the last point that I'll say here, momentarily here, is that this is why, fathers have to learn how to be affectionate towards their daughters. That hug, that embrace. Why is that so significant in the life of your daughter? Because if she doesn't have it, how can she distinguish when she's out here now? She's dealing, with men and stuff in the world, and they're hugging and holding her. How can she identify lust from love if she never had a measuring point? And that's where that father is. That father becomes the measuring stick for the barometer in that young girl's life, in terms of, so when you touch her, she's like, wait a minute, that doesn't feel like my father. My father touched me. It came from a place of love. It came from a place of protection. It made me feel safe. It made me feel validated. But when you touch me, it feels dirty. It feels cheap. It feels disrespectful. It feels like I'm being violated. But if she does not know how that feels from a father, how can she And that's when you end up with our young girls, unfortunately, having babies and being pregnant and having these babies with these men who have no intention of being fathers. They were just after one thing. And once they got that, they were done. So, but if she understands and says that, she stops it and says, no, either you're going to have to step up or you're going to have to step out. But because I know who I am, my father has put that in me to allow me to understand and know the difference of the two. And that's key in making sure that our daughters make it out of their teen years and end up in healthy relationships and healthy marriages that are not abusive physically and emotionally, etc., because they understood it, because they received it from their fathers as babies throughout their lives, and now they know how to walk in it as young adults.
This is good. I'm telling you, you have unloaded some powerful, powerful things there. I love what you said in regards to the father being the measuring stick, the barometer for the daughter as it pertains to what to accept, what not to accept, what to look for, understanding, being able rather to differentiate, to distinguish a touch of endearment from a touch of violation, perversion. These are the tools in which the father provides to the daughter. And we're also going to connect this to the sons as well, because it can go both ways in some instances. Because just as the father is the barometer, is the measuring stick for the young lady, for that son, he is the example, he is the template, he is the blueprint of manhood for that son and or that male young man or boy whose life he's in and is influencing. And so I think it's crucial for us to understand that as men, as fathers, as potential fathers, as surrogate fathers, as men who have stepped in and stepped up to the plate to be that guiding light to that young woman, that young man, that boy, that girl, whether they are biologically yours or not, to the stepfathers. Even in some instances, father-in-law, but by that time you're married, so it might be too late. But there's still some things that you can learn even from that end. But we, of course, we're trying in this teaching, we're endeavoring in this discussion to provide you with tools so that you can be proactive. Because wouldn't you agree, Elder Williams, too many times we as men, we are reactive. We fail to groom ourselves, mature ourselves, and develop ourselves in being solutionists in various aspects of life, particularly in the area of fatherhood. And we don't educate ourselves, we don't prepare ourselves ahead of time. We're not proactive. We wait until the situation occurs. We wait until she comes with the confession of I'm pregnant, versus having been proactive, being that involved father. And I love what the doctor said as it pertains to not being overly protective, because, and you can speak to this, or can you, as a father of a daughter, is there is there an instance, is there a situation that you can recall and feel comfortable sharing where you were overly protective and that caused an issue that developed a problem beyond what you were endeavoring to prohibit? Is that ringing a bell? Can you speak to the overly protective piece?
Yeah, because what that does is it breeds rebellion, um, purposely, and so as my daughter, a few years back, she's determined, and I remember her mom contacted me, and it was a young lady that that I believe that she was talking to, that lived up the street as a friend, but I believe that the individual was a might have been a transgender um, male to a transgender male, and but obviously living within themselves as a young girl, and her mother had concerns and was really adamant about her not having a relationship, a friendship with, just say, with this person, this individual, etc., and wanted me to, to in essence back her up, and so instead of doing that with her, I could see how she was already being rebelling against what her mom was saying, and with the back and forth, and and why I don't understand, she's a person like anyone else, and you tell us to love everybody, but look at you, and she was, going through all this. And I would believe that was one of the times the Holy Spirit just told me, step back. Do not force that, and have a conversation with her, of course, but allow her to be heard. Um, Many times we say things because our children are young and we're the parent. We just say, well, you don't get to say anything. Just do what I tell you to do. And I really don't care if you agree with it or not, or how you feel about it. You just do what I tell you to do because I'm the parent and you're the child. However, we have to also use wisdom when it comes to parenting, and we have to learn when to pick our battles, particularly as our children get older, because again, when we do that, over protecting, the rebellion rises in them. And many times, and so, I had a conversation with her about it, and explained some things to her, and we talked, and she made a decision on her own, to step back, and for whatever, the reasons that she was able to come to on her own. But I let it be her decision, um, to decide, on how to handle that. And I think as parents, again, we don't all, there's no one size fits all. Every situation that presents itself, even with the, and I say again, three children, same mother, same father, came from the same place, but they all are totally different in how their dispositions, their responses, the things that, their proclivities, things that they gravitate towards, or things that they don't gravitate towards. It may become an issue in one that it never shows in the other. Even as my older sister and myself, we were like day and night. My sister was the type of person, she didn't believe it until you knocked it out of her. Where I was at that time, I was the person that, if you talk to me, that was enough to get my attention, and I'm talking about my dad when I'm talking about, this situation. My dad could talk to me in his voice, and it would just shut me down, as a little boy. Whereas with my sister, he talked to her, that wasn't enough. He had to take it a step further. So, to your question again, yeah, there are dangers when we try to hold our children hostage, basically. um, you know Even as the man, as a doctor indicated, with dating and stuff like that, me and her mom, we gotta, we come up with an age that we feel is appropriate, for her to date. you know Here's the boundaries that we draw, here's the things that we do. But like I said, can we be in something 24/7? No. But as a parent, to your point, you understand certain things. My daughter will say this to me all the time. She's like, Daddy, how do you know that? How did you know that? How did you know that? And my response to her has always been the same. I'm your father, I'm supposed to know. And so that's always been my response. And I'm like, and when we're praying for our children, Holy Spirit gives us insight. Sometimes there are times the Holy Spirit check her phone. Just come here, give me a phone. Dad, look, I don't know. I'm just going through it because that, I feel like, I don't know who you're talking to all the time, and, and things of that nature. And because she knows that I'm aware of those things, it heightens her ability too. But again, hovering our children, there's a difference between protecting them, which we should protect them. But then there's a whole nother aspect when we suffocate them to the point where they're not able to grow, they're not able to develop, they can't matriculate or anything, and then we end up raising them as they grow into adults that end up being damaged, easily influenced, unstable. They're unable to make sound decisions about different things because, again, they always have to defer because they were never allowed, to make the mistakes. They were never allowed to make the errors. They were never allowed to make a decision. And then again, you have, there are people, there are young girls right now who are married to men who they would have never married, but they did it out of rebellion to their father.
Right.
So they're just as they say to get, just to make them upset. They did that on purpose because they were always hounding, you don't like any guy. Every guy you got a problem with. You can't do this, you can't do that, you can't do this. And and yes, we live in a dangerous world, and we live in a different world and all that stuff. But at the same time, we've got to understand, we've got to let our children spread their wings. And we've got to, again, as a father, as I said before, it's not my job to raise her to be a lady. I don't know how to raise her to be a lady. I have never been one. But it is my job to raise her to understand, as a lady, this is what you are expected to carry yourself, because this is what will attract the right type of man. This is what will get you the right type of person in your life.
Right. You said something there on the end that's a perfect segue into excuse me, a perfect segue into where I want us to go, and then we're going to conclude with our slides as it pertains to the statistics that show how positively effective a father being active, being present emotionally, mentally, how that benefits the child from infancy all the way up into adulthood, really. But you said something as it pertains uh, to the overprotective piece, and I love what you shared, and thank you for sharing so candidly in regards to your personal experience with your daughter. But you said something as it pertains to how, when fathers are ignorant in balancing their role of protection, or being balanced, when they're ignorant in how to balance themselves regarding their role and duty as the protector and the guardian and even defender of their daughters, of their children in general, how that can render backlash, whereby that daughter, for the sake and the sole purpose of rebelling, because the father's grip was so tight. And as you mentioned, that father did not allow her to grow and develop as they mature chronologically. We as parents, we are not to just hands off, but we need to, at the appropriate time, I need to make sure I say that, at the appropriate time. And because also, to your point, all children aren't the same, all siblings. You have three, they all grew up in the same household, same mother and father, but yet they're different behavior wise, characteristic wise. Excuse me. One is more tender and or more emotional than the other. The other is more tough skin. And so you have to be able to know how to engage with your child and or children based upon where they are mentally, where they are emotionally. And so when, as parents, if we don't know when the appropriate times are to loosen the belt, give them some levity, give them some room when they enter into adulthood, in the instance that you're speaking as it pertains to the daughter, now marrying a guy, really, in many instances, she has nothing in common with. There's no compatibility. In some instances, there's really no attraction or very minimal, but the sole purpose that they date the guy and or later marry the guy is because that's a guy that my father disapproves of, that my father dislikes, and I'm with him, dating him, marrying him, of course, not really understanding the consequences of their decision. They think I'm just getting back at dad. But especially if you marry the person, you now have entered into a whole new experience that won't be, in most cases, good and or pleasant. And so when you said that, that reminded me of what the doctor said in the video, and that is most fathers, unfortunately, are ill-equipped to speak to their daughters. And again, the illustration that you gave speaks to that, because fathers as men weren't taught how to they weren't taught how to manage their emotions themselves. They weren't taught how to engage in healthy conversation as it pertains to what they're feeling, how they're feeling, why they're feeling, without the perception that they're not masculine, without the perception that they are less than a man. And so in the instance of becoming a father, especially to a daughter, when they are ill-equipped to navigate through their own emotional experiences, that leaves them less equipped to assist that child, to assist that daughter in navigating and feeling through what it is that they're experiencing. And I love also, and I want you to speak to this, but I love also how he mentioned that fathers need to, quote unquote, channel their inner Oprah. Now, we're not going to, you know how I feel about Oprah, but his point was, as it pertains to her ability, because she's a journalist, her ability to get to the heart of the issue, to get to the heart of the matter, her ability to engage. She's not just a journalist, she's a great conversationalist. She understands how to empathize. She understands and knows how to bring herself down to the level of that individual that she's speaking to, in order for them to open up and in order for them to share things that are intimate, things that are personal, that they probably would never share publicly. But because Oprah has that understanding, not only possibly an innate ability and or a gifting, but understands how to connect with individuals where they are. And I love how he said that fathers, most especially regarding their daughters, they need to develop that understanding. And I'm going to close my piece with this, connecting with what I said earlier, excuse me, in regards to we being proactive with our children and not waiting until something happens, a situation occurs, and then we're scrambling trying to figure it out. And I want you to speak to this. And I wrote down that counseling can be utilized as a proactive tool, because in many instances, especially within the Black community, if we even ascribe to counseling and or entertain the thought of counseling, clinical counseling, spiritual counseling, pastoral, doesn't matter. But normally if we entertain it, we ascribe to it, we seek it when trouble hits. We seek it when our marriage is on the verge of divorce. We seek it when our child and our children are rebellious. But as it pertains to what he said, fathers being ill-equipped, one way to equip ourselves to effectively interact with our daughters, most especially, and our sons as well, emotionally, could be through the proactive tool of counseling. Now, we got about 8-9 minutes left before we get into our close, and we want to conclude with these slides, but I want to hear your thoughts for about a minute or two in regards to what I just shared, and then we'll move into the slides.
So yeah, it's key that we get our daughters talking to us, and in order to do that, you sometimes, again, this is where being proactive again comes into play, because just by nature your daughters should want to communicate, because that's generally a strong characteristic of most women, is that women like to talk, they like to share, they like to have that. So again, that means that there are things that I have to kind of be up on, in terms of what's going on in her culture and time and stuff like that, and or talk sometimes in certain things to let her know that like, oh dad, I didn't know you knew what you know about that, dad, I didn't know you know about that. And I have to, because I have to be relevant to her, to the point of that because if I talk to her in a way that doesn't relate to her, then she's not going to understand that. And so that's kind of like me talking to her about VHS, when she only understands the current stuff now. So you can't use that kind of terminology and things like that and expect the right outcomes. You have to speak and talk into the things that they understand. So I share those things like that, because again, because at the end, when more serious things arise, and this is the whole reason for all of the, as he outlined, why talking about your friends and stuff, because now I'm knowing who your friends are, now I'm understanding who you're interacting with and stuff. But most importantly, when those more difficult conversations or issues comes, she will feel comfortable coming to talk to you if she feels safe, if you make her feel that you've given her a safe place to do so. And so that's the biggest thing here as we move on, is that you as the father, your daughter is the plane, she's circling. You have to be her runway. So you got, as she's circling and stuff, you have to be the runway that she feels safe landing with, as she's circling in her mind and circling her emotions and circling her thoughts and things of that nature. You have to become the runway for her that says, you know what, I may not be able to talk to this person or that person, or even to my mom, but I feel like I can talk to my dad. And so when that happens, and again, that's for another time, but we got to be able to allow them to get it out, listen actively, listen with compassion, love on them, and sometimes understanding that a response may not always be warranted. And I think that sometimes, because we as men, and this is just a free nugget, even in relationships with your wives and your companions, they don't always want you to fix everything.
Right.
Sometimes a woman just wants to be heard. She doesn't, but we as men, we're fixers. When you tell me something, I want to fix it and move on. But she doesn't want you to fix it. She already knows what she needs to do. She already has a decision how she's going to handle it. She just wants you to listen. And that is the hardest thing, I believe, for men to do, even our father, is how to be active listeners, how to stay tuned in and just listen to what your daughter is saying, listen to her heart, listen to what she's saying, and respond, unaudibly, not with words, not with an opinion, but maybe with just a hug that says, I heard you, I hear you, I'm here for you, and leave it at that. And God give us the wisdom to understand when to respond and when to be quiet.
That's good. That's real good. And thank you for the free nugget to the husbands and the potential husbands. That was real good. All right. In our last 8 minutes or so, as we get ready to wrap up tonight, and you all talk to us in the comments, let us know if this dialogue, if this teaching has been beneficial to you, if it's been insightful. Let us know. So let's conclude with our slides. We, for the past 2 weeks, now we're in the third week, we have been sharing also statistically in regards to 10 facts about father engagement. Father engagement. And so we encourage you, Elder Williams and I, to go back and watch week 1 and week 2, especially if you are watching for the first time as it pertains to catching this series of teaching. I want you to go back and watch the previous weeks so you can receive all of the previous points in regards to father engagement. And again, I want to continue to hone in and drill the absent portion, the absent piece. We're speaking to the father, that male that may be there physically, you're there financially, but you're not there emotionally, or you're not there emotionally to the extent that that child needs. And so you may need to step up your game. You may need to receive guidance and receive instruction as it pertains to emotional intelligence so that you will know how to emotionally interact with your child, with your children appropriately. And you can't, it's not a one size fits all. And that's what Elder Williams spoke to earlier. How you interact with one child emotionally is not necessarily the same way you will interact with the other child, even if they're of the same sex. You don't interact with all your boys the same and all your daughters. But so let's conclude now. So the number 7 of the 10 facts about father engagement. We're going to move quickly. I'm going to go through them, and then Elder Williams, I'm going to allow you to elaborate on 1 or 2, probably 1, because we only got 10 minutes left. But number 7, high levels of father involvement. High levels of father involvement are correlated with higher levels of social ability. Let me get my mouth together. All right. Again, high levels of father involvement are correlated with higher levels of social ability, confidence, and self-control in children. Children with involved fathers are less likely to act out in school or engage in risky behaviors in adolescence. I want you all to get this. We just didn't want to talk to you from an experiential standpoint. We also wanted to talk to you from a statistical standpoint so that you can understand that, so that you can know that what we're saying is substantiated with fact. All right, number 8. Children with actively involved fathers are, listen to this, 43% more likely to earn A's in school. Listen, fathers, and 33% less likely to repeat a grade than those without engaged dads. So it's imperative. It's imperative that fathers, that men step up to the plate and be there for your child, not only financially. Well, I never miss a birthday as it pertains to sending a gift and or sending money. I never miss Christmas as it pertains to sending materialistic things and money. All that's good, all that's right, all that's needed. But however, what we're sharing with you, what we've shared with you in the past now 3 weeks, trumps all of that. Because there are some fathers that can't give the gifts in accordance to the child's desire every year because they just don't make what they need make financially to do that. However, they are there in the other aspects of their child's life, which is really more valuable and more important. So let me hurry so we can hear Elder Williams's closing remarks. So that's number 8. All right, number 9. Father engagement reduces, listen, the frequency of behavioral problems in boys while also decreasing delinquency and economic disadvantage in low-income families. Lord, we've already been on this for 3 weeks, but I tell you, we can get another week out of this, but we're not going to do it unless the Lord says otherwise. But listen to that. All right, listen to that. The engagement of a father reduces the frequency of behavioral problems in boys and decreases delinquency and economic disadvantage in low-income families. All right, number 10, father engagement reduces psychological problems and rates of depression in young women. Now, that's a Selah moment, because I don't know the numbers. I haven't researched them. I'm assuming, and I really don't want to assume, that depression, I think it's safe to assume, depression is probably higher among women than men. It's not that men don't go through depression, but this is a proactive tool, fathers, to ensure or at least lessen the possibility of your daughters dealing with depression. Being engaged, your engagement reduces psychological problems and the rate of depression in young women. And lastly, number 11, let me see, did I hit it? Oh, no, that's it. Number 10. I'm talking about number 11. That's it. That's number 10. All right. So we concluded from 7 all the way to 10. And again, I encourage you to go back and watch the previous week so that you can get all 10 points as it pertains to the benefit of father engagement. Elder Williams, your closing remarks as it pertains to, we got 6 minutes. And we got some announcements, so I'm gonna give you 2 of the 6.
Stop talking. You're cutting into my time. So listen.
Hey, go ahead.
Listen, let me get it here. But I want a couple of things I want to say on this, and mainly is the first thing is dealing with the point about the need for the fathers in terms of the boys. Listen. Again, get mad at what I'm about to say, but it's the fact. You know, women, as great of a job as they do, they cannot raise boys to be full-fledged men. You don't have all of the inner workings. You don't have all the tools. Listen, every single man that is in jail has their mother. The majority has their mother. When they're being interviewed and they're being talked to, nearly every one of them will tell you they did not have a father. The impact on that is much more significant. I'm not out here in jail because I didn't have a mother. It's because I didn't have the influence of a good father. So that's number one. Second point that I want to talk about is to the fathers who don't have the material, the money. Listen, I spent years frustrated as a dad because I was a dad. I was hardworking, but I wasn't making any money. And I have 3 kids to take care of. And for many of their earlier years, listen, I could not afford to even get them anything for Christmas. And it frustrated me as a dad because I went to work every day. I worked hard, but I just could not get them the things that they wanted. Thank God that their mother, would get things because she was in a better place financially, and she would do things, and then she would, many times add my name to a lot of the gifts, and my kids would call me and say, Dad, thank you for this, and I had no idea what they were talking about, because I know I didn't do anything, but for all those years, it wasn't until 2017 that the Lord changed my situation when I moved to New Jersey. And when I moved to New Jersey, I didn't leave my kids because I didn't want to be a part of them. I left them because I knew that the provision that I needed for them was someplace else, that I could not do the things or reach that level until I got to that point. And when I got there, everything is turned around. So financially, I'm where God is blessing, I'm, 6 figures and my income and stuff now. And I'm able to do that. But I've always kept the things that money could not buy. And I'm making that point to say that again. Fathers, your focal point has to first be on the things that money cannot provide. And then you can add those other things. Like I said, things will never substitute wisdom, knowledge, understanding, all those things that money cannot buy. Your kids, I'll tell this really quick. It's a story about the little boy, wanted the gift. The parents went all over the world trying to find the best gift, and they found it. They put it in the package, and on Christmas Day, the boy opened up the gift, took the gift out, looked at it, put it aside, took the bow, and started playing with it. So the point was, it's not about the material things that you put. It's about the things that money cannot buy.
That was quick. I appreciate your brevity and not going the Baptist route, because you all Baptists, you all are professional storytellers.
7 closes.
But listen, this has been powerful. We have come to the conclusion of the 3 weeks of teaching absent but present fathers. I want to encourage you to share this. I really do encourage you to share this. Get this lesson out. Go back on our YouTube channel, CT Johnson Ministries YouTube channel, because the videos are there chronologically versus you going through our timeline on the Facebook page. Go to CT Johnson Ministries YouTube channel, subscribe there, and go back and watch the previous teachings, because it will give you the whole of this subject matter, and you'll be able to understand more intently what we were endeavoring to do in regards to this teaching. And so I want to encourage you as we wrap up here to sow, if the Lord is speaking to you, to sow a seed into this ministry to assist me in doing what I'm doing by way of Empowerment Monday, bringing this type of thought-provoking subject matter. And you can go to the website, ctjohnson.org, and give there securely, or you can give through the other secure ways, direct from your cell phone, text CTJM to 54244, CTJM give, rather, CTJM give to 54244. PayPal, the email is info@ctjohnson.org. And then, of course, via Cash App, $ CTJ Ministries. I also want to encourage you to purchase Elder Williams' latest book, The Samson Syndrome, The Rise, Fall, and Restoration of Godly Men. You can go to Amazon.com and type in the title of the book and/or his name. It will pop up, and you can purchase your copy and a copy for the men in your life. I'm telling you, especially in regards to our 3 weeks of teaching as it pertains to present but absent fathers, this book, I'm yet going through it. It's a powerful book, insightful book. He even shares some personal struggles that he himself overcame. So if you want to know some of his business, get the book and you'll know some of his personal struggles. Amen. Also, I want to encourage you, if you have not yet purchased my latest book, Empower Your Thinking, Quotes to Shift Consciousness, Provoke Thought, and Increase Understanding, you can go to my website, ctjohnson.org. It's not available right now on Amazon. We're working out some issues with Amazon, so you can only purchase the book right now through my website, ctjohnson.org. And I'm telling you, it's going to literally empower your thinking. And to those of you that have purchased, thank you, thank you, thank you. And if you have purchased and you're listening or will catch the replay, I want you to email me at info@ctjohnson.org, because I want to know what your review, what your thoughts are in regards to the book. And also take a selfie of yourself and email it to info@ctjohnson.org so we can thank you on our social media platforms. And if you are subscribed to our email list, check your emails, because I've sent out emails asking this of you. And some of you haven't responded. To those of you that have, thank you. To those of you that haven't, check your emails. All right. Check your emails. Also, lastly, and we're getting ready to wrap it up, if you have not yet subscribed subscribe, that's the right word. If you have not yet subscribed to my podcast, you are doing yourself a disservice. A Biblical Perspective podcast, I'm telling you, it's a powerful, powerful podcast. We are dealing with subjects that are taboo, and we're giving you God's perspective, because really the truth of the matter is God's perspective is the only one that really matters. And so we have a powerful, powerful episode that's launching on the 18th of July. My dear friend, I love this lady, Miss Janice Pons, who has a master's in education with a specialization in education. She's also a licensed therapist. She's a clinician. You see all the letters of the alphabet behind her name. She has been in the mental health field for over 40 years. And so we're going to have a powerful, powerful 2-session podcast with her on mental health, the effects of trauma. And part 1 will launch on the 18th. So if you have not subscribed to the podcast, you can do that by going to all of the outlets wherever you listen to podcasts: Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Play, Amazon Music, or CPN, which is the platform that our podcast is on. So you want to subscribe and rate the podcast. I'm telling you, this episode with Miss Janice is going to be powerful, powerful, and powerful. It will be. Well, Elder Williams, I thank you again for being with me. We did it. We did it. We did it. We've concluded. I want to encourage you again to go to Amazon.com, purchase his book one more time, purchase his book, The Samson Syndrome, The Rise, Fall, and Restoration of a Godly Man. Go to Amazon.com, purchase it today, and share this. Get this word, get this teaching out into the hands of all you know, male and female. All right. Have a productive and prosperous rest of the week. And we'll be back next week with another powerful teaching right here on Empowerment Monday. This is Prophet C.T. Johnson with my dear friend, my best friend, 24 years and counting, Elder Williams. We love you. Be empowered.
Thank you for tuning into Empowerment Monday with me, Prophet C.T. Johnson. Would you prayerfully consider partnering with C.T. Johnson Ministries International? Enable us to continue to declare truth and empower lives. Go to ctjministries.org/partnership and sow your best seed today. I also invite you to like and follow the ministry's Facebook page at CT Johnson Ministries, as well as subscribe to the YouTube channel, also CT Johnson Ministries. Remember to click the bell to receive notification of live broadcasts and newly uploaded content. For further information about the ministry, products, and the various services we offer, visit the website at ctjohnson.org. Until next time, be empowered.